Hello, in this video I'd like to show you how to launch WebORB for .NET in the EC2 environment. This is one of the new features we added in WebORB 5.0. For this I logged on to my Amazon Web Services console and I'm going to launch an EC2 instance for Windows. I will log on via remote desktop to that computer, download WebORB for .NET from our website and run it from there so you can see that it is very simple and easy process. Since some of these tasks will take some time, like for instance starting an instance, I will use the time-lapse approach and will skip through some of the steps that are taking longer time. So to start with, I'm going to launch a new instance. And here I'm going to select Microsoft Windows Server with IIS because it already has ASP.NET included in there. It is going to be a micro instance to keep things simple. In this particular step, it is very important because here I need to provide credentials for my WebORB for .NET subscription. Since WebORB runs in the cloud, you need to create an account for WebORB for EC2. And once you create an account, you're going to get a subscription ID, which will need to be entered right here. In order to obtain the subscription ID, you can just go to the WebORB for .NET documentation, select Cloud Integration, Amazon EC2, and right in the overview section there is a subscription link to the subscription page, which is right here, WebORB for EC2 sign up. All you need to do is to fill out this form, provide your credit card information and your contact information. The email address that you enter here will need to be used in the registration when you launch your instance. And the billing takes place hourly to report the usage of WebORB, and at the end of the month it will tally up and then charge your credit card for only the amount of hours that you have used WebORB in the cloud. I have already created an account for myself here, so I'm just going to enter that in the EC2 launch wizard. The format for this data is documented right here in the documentation configuration section, so you can just copy and paste this particular text and provide your information. So in this case it's going to be my email address and my subscription ID. The next step is to enter key value pairs. We can skip it. It is also very important to create the security key pair just so you can log on to that particular instance via remote desktop. I'm going to create a new key pair and I'm going to call it WebORB for .NET. I already have a security group created, which opens up the port so I can access WebORB remotely, and I will show you what the details for this particular security group. So at this point we can launch this instance. So the now instance is initializing and launching, and as soon as it's ready we're going to connect to it via remote desktop. Now the instance is ready, and before we can connect to it with Remote Desktop Manager, we need to generate Windows password, which we will use in order to log into this particular computer. I right-click this instance and select Get Windows Password. And here I need to provide the file which I downloaded when I generated the key pair. So the file is still sitting in my downloads. Decrypt password. I'm just going to copy it into the clipboard. So at this point I can select Connect. We'll download the shortcut file and select it to run remote desktop connection. So at this point I'm connected to the Windows computer which was started. And the very first thing that I usually do is I download Google Chrome, because using Internet Explorer is becoming a nightmare with security restrictions built into the default installation of IE. Okay, at this point Google Chrome is installed, so I'm just going to navigate to our website, midnightcoders.com, so I can download WebORB for .NET. Select WebORB for .NET and use version 5.0. I'm going to download the installer. So as you can see, it is downloading right now. WebORB for .NET is now downloaded. And let's just run the installer. It is important to select a website when you're installing, but since we are on a plain vanilla Windows server with ASP.NET, there's going to be only one website. I'm going to stick with .NET 3.5, where we can switch to 4.0, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now that the installation is complete, we can also request that the management console is started as soon as we finish with the installer. Notice that the URL with version 5, the default URL is WebORB 5. So now that WebORB is installed, we can connect it with the WebORB management console. And here it is. WebORB automatically recognizes that it's running in the EC2 environment, and as you can see, all of the functionality that is available in the product is also available in the cloud. So you can browse your services, use data management, use publish, subscribe messaging, as well as the RTMP features. And it's a full-blown installation that is ready to use. WebORB clustering is also available with version 5, but for that we're planning a separate set of videos to demonstrate various features that you can use with WebORB clustering. A quick note about accessing your WebORB instance remotely. First of all, you need to make sure that the ports are open in the security group. So right here, the security group that I have assigned to my Windows instance is called WebORB.net. You can see the security groups for your account under security groups. Right here, my security group for WebORB for .net is right here, and I have enabled port 80 as well as port 2037 for TCP and 2037 for UDP. The port 2037 is used for the RTMP applications, therefore it needs to be accessible in the security group. Now it is also very important to configure your firewall in your Windows instance. And right here, this is my remote desktop window. If you go into Start, Administrative Tools, and Windows Firewall, you will notice that the Windows Firewall is enabled by default. So right here, as a quick change, I'm going to disable the firewall, but you can also configure it to allow port 2037. So right here, I'm going to turn it off for both private and public profiles. So the firewall is turned off at this point, and I'm going to get the IP address of this box, which is right here. So as you can see, Management Console is working, and all the messaging applications do show up just fine. Therefore, you can see that the RTMP is working. This concludes this video. You're welcome to download WebORB version 5 for EC2 and start playing with the technology. Thank you.